evening. This is Frankly Speaking Live with your host, Frank Holzhauser, and my co-host, David Kaniuk.
How you doing, Frank?
Good. How are you this week?
Nice. It's nice outside.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
70 degrees today?
Oh, it's like 75. It's gorgeous. Finally.
Yeah, about a half inch of rain and it'll be on, won't it?
Yep.
Grass cutting for the next
Oh, yeah, the next 6 months.
6 months.
That's all right. I'll take that over shoveling.
Yeah. Well, if you would like to join the show with your questions or your comments, be sure and call toll free if you're out of town, 855-244-0077. And if you would like to make a local call, it's 244-0077. I was going to start out this week. I've been watching some shows on the History Channel. Obviously, you might be able to tell by my voice. I've got a little bit of a head cold going on here. But I've been watching some shows on the History Channel, and along with Cosmos, quantum physics is going to be a topic this week. I was doing some reading in a book, and I posted on Facebook. Imagine 1 billion North American continents covered in dimes stacked to the moon. Be roughly 239,000 miles to the moon, I guess. One of those dimes is painted red. Blindfold your friend and have him pick out that red dime. Now, not being a great mathematician in algebra, according to what I read, the odds of that are 1 part 10 to the 37th power. That's the mathematical equation to how precise electrons to protons must be for electromagnetic forces not to overcome gravitational forces, making it impossible for galaxies, stars, or planets to be formed. This is how precise physical law must be. There's only room for 1 part, 1 red dime, I suppose, in all those trillions of dimes. That's how precise protons to electrons must be.
Now, according to Cosmos, the most intelligent program ever, that all happened by accident.
Well, okay.
And that's what Neil Tyson deGrasse has taught me.
But now what's more interesting, though, is there's even some more absurd equations of 10 to the 40th power, 10 to the 60th power, which would be even less room for error. But God's moral law must be even more precise than all of those. In fact, Christ said that not 1 jot or 1 tittle would pass from the law. The perfection is mind-boggling, and atheists think this life was an accident, and morals are just happenstance. Christians believe in a moral absolute. Atheists advocate for moral relativity. Okay, some societies love their neighbors while others eat them. Which do you prefer, Mr. Atheist? How did your atoms, matter, create any morality? So your value judgments is no better than another. But if you think some behavior transcends value judgments, then this can only result in a God and not your BS theories and speculation called evolution.
Well, I don't know a whole lot. I haven't done a whole lot of studying on quantum physics. From what I understand, one of the neat things about quantum physics is that they've been able to use quantum physics to calculate the existence of multi-dimensions.
Yeah, right.
Well, no.
Yeah.
I think that we do in some way live in a multi-dimensional universe. So phenomenon like demons and things like that exist in their own dimension and are trying to get into this dimension. And quantum physics, I believe, they've been able to calculate, at least in theory, the existence of those multi-dimensions. There was actually a news story that I had posted earlier this week where astronomer and mathematician Bernard Carr theorized that many of the phenomena that we experience but cannot explain within the physical laws of this dimension are actually occurring in other dimensions. I've always said that mathematics, we live in a mathematical universe, as you detailed in your opening there. It's a mathematical, precise universe, and I have always ascertained that mathematics is proof of God. Absolutely. It is proof of a creator using an exact science to build the universe. Not so...
Well, not to interrupt you there, but...
that's all right. I needed interrupting at that point.
No. Well, let me throw a couple of things at you. Well, quantum physics holds that potentially the moon is not there unless you view it.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads me to the speculation that, well, what if a sighted man and a blind man is observing the moon? It's not there because the blind man can't see it.
Right.
And it's there because I can see it. And they talk about in quantum physics, get this, theoretical physicists,
Mm-hmm.
theoretical scientists. Now, I'm going to take that over the word of God, the Creator. See, God made the rules that govern and regulate the universe. He can walk in and out of those if he chooses to. That's
Right.
called miracles.
Right.
And we're told that when we pray, that before the words leave our mouth, an angel can be by our side that has come from the throne of God. How does that angel transverse the universe that quickly?
I don't have all the answers. I've theorized that they have their own technology to be able to do so. When trying to explain the what's known as the New World Order, or whatever you want to call that, the kingdom that Lucifer is trying to build on Earth, we know that Lucifer is trying to become God on Earth. He cannot be God on Earth because he's not as powerful as God. So he's trying to use technology to basically counterfeit the powers of God.
Exactly.
Right. So he's trying to use, these supercomputers and things like that to basically become God. Advanced artificial intelligence, quantum computing, which is supposed to be so advanced that it almost pulls answers to equations from another dimension, so to speak. So it's going to be a combination of those things that's going to make you believe that a coming person is God on Earth.
Well, supposedly, if I strike a pool ball in Houston,
Mm-hmm.
and I look at that pool ball and even think about it, I can start a pool ball in Paris to rotate the opposite direction. Just merely thinking of it, I can create it. And supposedly in the show, they're advocating that when you make a choice, whatever choice you make, you potentially are creating another parallel universe with the choice you didn't make.
Yeah, sure.
So if Hitler didn't do what Hitler done,
Mm-hmm.
then some other universe exists.
Right. No, I've heard that theory as well. Obviously, I don't have any way
I
of...
think I've heard that on Family Guy.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't have any way of proving whether or not... It's almost getting into mathematical philosophy, more than anything. It's an interesting theory.
Well, the reason I bring it up is just the mind-boggling aspect of how precise things have to be to keep the universe to operate without planets colliding into one another, without everything collapsing on itself, without the big freeze, as we were told we were going to get, and as precise as mathematics as it takes to operate the universe, the law of God is even more precise. God can't tolerate no sin, no evil, not even one part. like the thin red dime. God can't tolerate that one thin red dime. He would have had to have died for the one thin red dime.
Right.
Okay, now my second topic. I saw another show this week.
You were just burning up the TV, weren't you?
Boy, I was Sunday. I was feeling pretty poorly, so I didn't have much to do. And the race got rained out. The NASCAR race got rained out.
Oh, that's too bad.
So that got postponed till Monday. So I got the benefit of watching a 4-hour marathon on PBS.
I watched a 4-hour marathon called WrestleMania 30, and it was fantastic.
That was Sunday evening, though.
I don't think I learned anything, but
But anyway, this show was called The Story of the Jews, narrated by Simon Schama. Simon was lamenting the triumphs and tragedies, one of the triumphs being Somewhere Over the Rainbow, the Judy Garland song in Wizard of Oz, apparently written by a Jew.
something in Hollywood created by a Jew?
Yeah,
no,
there's
come on.
Come on. But he was lamenting the triumphs and tragedies of the nation of Israel. But what really kind of bugged me was when he opined that it wasn't what the Germans did to the Jews, but what the rest of the world let happen. Well, excuse me here. I'm most likely going to sound a little bit uncaring, but if the once chosen nation of God had not divorced themselves from God, no one would have dared touch them for fear of retribution. God fought all their battles for them. In fact, I believe it was the Amorites that he dropped hailstone-sized basketballs on as they were in retreat. Does it dawn on you foolish ones at all that Elvis has left the building? Meaning it is a historical fact that when you crucified your Messiah and our Messiah and stoned most of his prophets, you lost your favor. In fact, when Christ died, the veil between the holy place and the most holy place, which housed the mercy seat, was rent from top to bottom, exposing the fact that the animal sacrifice was over. When type, animal sacrifice, meant Christ, antitype, slain Son of God. Elvis has left the building, and God left the temple. Now God was even long-suffering after you killed his son, years, but you had to cap it off by stoning Stephen, his prophet, in AD 34. Then Jerusalem was ultimately destroyed in AD 70 after Stephen's death. The disciples went out and proclaimed the gospel to the Gentile. Now everyone is in one of two churches. Spiritual Israel. Since there's no longer a chosen Israel, we can all be part of Jew, Greek, Gentile, circumcised, uncircumcised. We can all be part of spiritual Israel, or you're in the apostate church, spiritual Babylon. Because the literal Jewish temple does not and will never again exist, the new temple is in each one of Christ's followers. It's in you, it's in I, where the Holy Spirit resides. So bottom line, the good news is that the Jews aren't forgotten, but they have to accept the cross just like everyone else.
And that is very true. I think what the tearing of the veil and everything represented, Christ's crucifixion represented that was the final sacrifice that needed to occur. There didn't need to be any more animal sacrifices. Christ was the ultimate sacrifice, and that's why the sacrifices stopped. But I think it's prophetic that there will actually be a physical third temple.
And we're coming up on our first break, and this is Frankly Speaking Live with your host, Frank Holzhauser, and co-host David Kaniuk. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the made-up war on women.
All across America, there are countless numbers of people struggling with addiction and other life-controlling issues. Probably someone you know and love. There is a way out. There is hope. Transformations Treatment Center in Delray Beach, Florida, has a unique approach to substance abuse treatment. Call now and ask about our Guaranteed Success program or log on to transformationstreatment.com. Transformations. Change your life, change your relationships, transform your world.
Yes, now your favorite programs on Webcast One Live can all be watched and listened to on any Android or Apple device. Your phone, tablet, or iPad. Yes, your favorite shows on Webcast One Live are available live or on podcast wherever you go. Let me introduce to you some of our great shows.
Shalom! Every week on Understanding the World with Rabbi David Kaufman, we'll talk about issues in the Middle East, issues related to the Jewish tradition and religious traditions in general, and keep you up to date on exactly what's going on around the world. You may know some of the story, but you haven't heard all of the story until you've heard it on Understanding the World with Rabbi David Kaufman and our special guests we have on every week.
Hey, this is Doc with Doc and Lefty. I want to tell you about our brand new time slot. It's from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. It's on the same night, Tuesdays. We now follow Ed Fallon and the Fallon Forum on webcast1live.com. I want to tell you a little bit about our show. Our show is focused on local, state, and national, and sometimes international politics. We like to keep people updated and informed. We also have very interesting guests. So please join us every Tuesday from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. on webcast1live.com.
So when you want to watch your favorite Webcast One program, remember, there's an app for that. You know, there's an app for that.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Get away from us, you mean old credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help! Somebody save us! Somebody help! Help! Save us!
Hi, I'm Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray! We're saved! Consumer Credit! You're our hero!
And we're back with Frankly Speaking Live, and your host, Frank Holzhauser, and co-host David Kaniuk. When we went away to break, I said I was going to talk about war on women.
I didn't know we had declared war on women.
Well, it happens every 2 years.
Oh.
Apparently.
There we go.
Every 2 and 4 years. Much like throwing grandma over
Seems
the
like
cliff.
when there's an election or something important.
Yeah, it just seems to coincide with elections. This week on Facebook, I get so tired of the phony, made-up war on women that the right is accused of, all because Christians don't want to pay for Sandra Fluke's birth control or fund her third trimester abortions after a drunken orgy. But what really frosts me is the deafening silence by the left and the feminazis concerning the real war on women in Muslim countries. Honor killings, honor beatings, lack of education for girls, and most terrible, female circumcision, or otherwise known as female mutilation of the clitoris. This is the war on women, not Mitt Romney's binders full of women's comment. Yesterday, the Obama team took up the fight for equal pay.
Considering they are the administration there has ever been.
But come to find out, women in the Obama White House are paid, staffers are paid 12% less than the male counterparts.
There you go.
Then the numbnuts, Jay Carney, defends that by saying, well, we aren't as bad as others. Hey, now, that's a ringing endorsement. Two-faced hypocrites comes to mind. Speak out of both sides of their pie hole. Again, it's election season, and Democrats aren't going to fare well. So look for the made-up war on women, throw Granny over the cliff, racism charges, rape, incest, and abortion, guns, entitlements, immigration, global warming will all take center stage by the Obama left-leaning media to take the sting off of the country's anger over Obama's Affordable Care Act, which oddly enough is anything but affordable.
There was a story this week. I think I posted that yesterday about an IRS being under fire because of Vote for Obama campaign stickers and comments that the IRS employees were making to callers.
I haven't heard that one.
Okay. Let's see. Even as the IRS faces growing heat over Lois G. Lerner and the Tea Party targeting scandal, a government watchdog says Wednesday it's pursuing cases against 3 other tax agency employees and offices suspected of illegal political activity in support of President Obama and fellow Democrats. In one case, the Office of Special Counsel, which investigates federal employees who conduct politics on government time, said it was commonplace in a Dallas IRS office for employees to have pro-Obama screensavers on their computers and to have campaign-style buttons and stickers at their office. In another case, a worker at the tax agency's customer helpline urged taxpayers to re-elect Obama in 2012 by repeatedly reciting a chant based on the spelling of his last name, the Office of Special Counsel said in a statement. Another IRS employee in Kentucky has agreed to serve a 14-day suspension for blasting Republicans in a conversation with a taxpayer. Quote, "They're going to take women back 40 years, the IRS employee said in a conversation that was recorded. The employee also said that if you vote for a Republican, the rich are going to get richer and the poor are going to get poorer. It's very ironic considering that there are more millionaire Democrats in the House of Representatives and Senate than there are Republicans." I opined on that article that it's funny how they repeat this idiotic mantra about Republicans wanting to take back the rights of women 40 years, but yet they don't give a darn. They don't give any care in the world about everyone, man, woman, child, all of our civil rights being taken back to pre-Magna Carta days under this administration.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem to dawn on them, but yet when you are that stupid that you're going to be repeating idiotic rhetoric like that, then higher thought is just not going to dawn on you readily.
Well, as somebody who's probably to the chagrin of my family, I've indulged in probably way too much politics in my life, but I can vividly remember, and let me get this if I can do it just right, Ted Kennedy looking down his pious nose, old Uncle Ted, at David Souter, and saying a vote for Souter was a vote for back alley abortions. David Souter was anything but a vote for the right.
Right. It's ridiculous how they equate women's rights to the right to kill an unborn child. These people have no idea where the Planned Parenthood movement came from. That it was born out of the eugenics movement of the.
It was born to kill black children, wasn't it?
Right. It was from Margaret Sanger, was the head of the American Eugenics Society, which eventually became Planned Parenthood. She was a admirer of Adolf Hitler. That is where Hitler adopted his eugenics policy. Right. That's where Hitler adopted his eugenics policies that he carried out against the Jews during his reign of terror. These people just don't understand what impact it really does have. You've got countries in Europe that are now saying that, well, it's okay if you have an ultrasound and find out your unborn baby is a woman. You want a male? That's okay. You can kill it, for gender. More unborn women are killed, in European countries and especially China, places like that have the one-child policy because they need to have another male in order to carry on the family name. So it affects women far more than it does men, yet these women are so brainwashed into thinking that this is their special birthright to be able to kill their children.
And what does China do with the excess number of men ratio to women?
Well,
They promoting homosexuality?
they are not. Well, they'll probably be coming over here pretty soon because we owe them a lot and we ain't got the money to pay. So guess who's collateral?
Well, I just personally tire of this war when there's real tragedy going on
Right.
in Muslim countries against women, and the liberals just sit deafeningly silent.
Well, they don't want to tackle anything that's actually hard.
Oh no. I got a post here, says on my Facebook. Give us your cattle, which we will sell to pay the fines we imposed upon you to save a tortoise that we are currently murdering ourselves, or we will shoot your family. We have apparently a cattle rancher in a standoff in Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a story about it you was wanting to hit on.
Well, there's a lot going on with this. This is with the Cliven Bundy family. His cattle have been free grazing on open land for generations. The Bureau of Land Management early this week has come to basically force him off of his land, round up his cattle, basically steal his cattle from him, all in the name of supposedly saving an endangered species, some breed of tortoise. They've been assaulting members of the Bundy family. I've got news stories. Feds assault cancer victim, pregnant woman in clash with Bundy supporters. His son, they assaulted his son. They tased him. The county commissioner in the county there, in Clark County, Nevada, Clark County Commissioner Tom Collins has caused outrage by remarking that the planning to travel to Nevada to support Cliven Bundy in his standoff against the feds better have funeral plans. So basically, there were supporters that were traveling over there to support the Bundys, and this county commissioner says you better have funeral plans, implying they're going to open fire. Then today, Alex Jones broke on his show right at the end, because he had a hunch, and then he had his staff doing research for 2 hours, and they found it. This is not about the tortoise at all.
Surprise, surprise.
This is about the hare. And by hare, I mean old Harry Reid, the mob boss of Nevada.
Dingy Harry, Dirty Harry?
Dirty Harry.
Reid.
There he is. There it is. Dirty Harry. I like that. Senator Harry Reid behind Bureau of Land Management land grab of Bundy Ranch. The Bureau of Land Management, whose director was Senator Harry Reid's former senior advisor, has purged documents from its website stating that the agency wants Nevada rancher Cliven Bundy's cattle off of the land his family has worked for over 140 years in order to make way for solar panel power stations. Another BLM report entitled Regional Mitigation Strategy for the Dry Lake Solar Energy Zone reveals that Bundy's land in question is within the Dry Lake Solar Energy Zone and surrounding area, which is part of a broad U.S. Department of Energy program for solar energy development in 6 southwestern states on land managed by BLM. In 2012, the BLM and the U.S. Department of Energy published the final pragmatic environmental impact statement for solar energy development in 6 southwestern states. The report reads, the final solar programmatic environmental impact statement assessed the impact of utility-scale solar energy development on public lands in the 6 southwestern states of Arizona, California, Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico, and Utah. The big bombshell is that back in 2012, the New American reported that Harry Reid's son, Rory Reid, was the chief representative for a Chinese energy firm planning to build a $5 billion solar plant on public land in Laughlin, Nevada. And journalist Marcus Stern with Reuters also reported that Senator Reid was heavily involved in the deal as well. Quote, Reid and his oldest son, Rory, are both involved in an effort by a Chinese energy giant, ENN Energy Group, to build a $5 billion solar farm and panel manufacturing plant in the southern Nevada desert, he wrote. Reid has been one of the project's most prominent advocates, helping recruit the company during a 2011 trip to China and applying his political muscle on behalf of the project in Nevada. His son, a lawyer with a prominent Las Vegas firm that is representing ENN, helped it locate a 9,000-acre desert site that is buying well below appraised value from Clark County, where Rory Reed formerly chaired the county commission. Although these reports are in plain view, the mainstream media has so far ignored this link. The BLM's official reason for encircling the Bundy family with sniper teams and helicopters was to protect the endangered desert tortoise, which the agency has previously been killing en masse due to budget constraints.
Well,
so there you have it. This is Harry Reid acting on behalf of the Chinese, using the Bureau of Land Management as hired muscle on behalf of the Chinese.
So,
this is Harry Reid, a United States senator committing treason, acting as a foreign agent, running. This is Mr. Smith Goes to Washington stuff. Only at the end of that story, the senator who was doing the land grab had a crisis of conscience and admitted to what he was doing and resigned. This guy doesn't have a conscience.
Well, this is eminent domain.
Yep.
And you know, what happened to the Democrats that used to stand for property rights and person rights?
They're gone. They've sold out. And where are the Republicans standing up for this guy? This should be a national outrage. Absolutely a national outrage.
Well, we're at the top of the hour, and we're coming upon our second break. This is Frankly Speaking Live with your host, Frank Holzhauser, and co-host David Kaniuk. And when we come back, we're going to talk about police state.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershad.
I'm administrative manager.
I'm the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're gonna do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's gonna be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're gonna do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you gonna say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're gonna be listening. They're gonna wanna know what your challenges are. Then they're gonna come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm gonna take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
Enough said.
we're back with Frankly Speaking Live and your host, Frank Holzhauser, and co-host David Kaniuk. Before we move on to the police state stories, David wanted to finish up here. I guess that CNN News, Fox News, the media is moving in onto the scene.
Right. Since the Drudge Report has been covering it all week, now the national news media, the dinosaur Press-It-Tube media, is finally descending upon the area. CNN, Fox, like you said, all the mainstream people are descending. The question is, how are they going to spin this story? I'm sure they obviously know about Harry Reid's crooked dealings and pushing this land grab on behalf of the Chinese firm there. But they're not going to report on that. They're not going to report on anything that's going to damage old Dirty Harry, as you put it. They are probably going to spin it as a standoff between crazy militias versus the poor old federal government. And I pray that that some of these militia people, I'm very worried that you're going to have agent provocateurs within some of those militia groups that are going to try and get something started so you can have some sort of standoff. And I pray that those plans are foiled.
Well, my first thought when I first heard of this story was obviously the first thought that comes to my mind is Waco, Texas.
Right.
And
right.
then you have...
well, the first thought, I think the more pertinent thought would be more like Ruby Ridge.
Ruby Ridge and Randy Weaver.
Yeah. A guy who did nothing.
Right.
Nothing but sawed off a shotgun, apparently, and then they shot his wife as she was breastfeeding her child. So, yeah, you've got all this descending. You got the Clark County Commissioner saying Bundy supporters better have funeral plans. I just read this quote, or let me read this real quick. Let's see here. Trying to see who said this. Darren Bushman, he's a Paiute County, Utah commissioner who spoke with this Commissioner Tom Collins, says, quote, "I was just told by Commissioner Collins of Clark County, Nevada, that all of us folks from Utah are a bunch of inbred bastards. And if we are coming to Clark County, to Nevada, to support Clive and Bundy, we all better have funeral plans. We should turn our bleeps around and mind our own bleeping business." That's what the Clark County, Nevada commissioner, who's probably on the take with old Dirty Harry Reid and his stinking son and the stinking Chinese, he's probably getting a cut of this. He's threatening to kill people who are going to defend this guy and his land and his rights.
Well, just as a point of reference, and I don't know if you ever heard this before, but I'm sure that Reverend Al Sharpton, before it's over with, will chime in. Because during Waco, Texas, he asserted that Waco, Texas was racist.
Did he?
Because they allowed the David Koresh movement to stand off for 54 days. And he asserted that if that was a neighborhood in Philadelphia, they would burn it down in 3. So I'm sure that before it's over, Reverend Al will poke his ugly head into it.
Well, I pray that this is enough, that they're able to uncover enough on Harry Reid from this that they're able to bring him down. Because that guy's a crooked, dirty son of a gun.
You would hope so.
And I've got numbers here for the Bureau of Land Management, these people who are acting as hired guns now for the Chinese. Their phone number is 202-208-3801. Again, that's 202-208-3801. Call them and tell them, ask them why they're supporting the Chinese in this crooked land deal. Ask them why they're not standing up for the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. Let's see here. Yeah, that's probably going to be the best. And then there's also Sheriff Douglas Gillespie, who has done nothing to defend the Bundy family. You can call him up at 702-828-3231. Again, that's 702-828-3231. Ask him why he doesn't do his job and defend an American citizen.
I don't know why our government isn't defending the American citizen.
Well, they're sold out to the Chinese. And here's the thing. we're so in debt to the Chinese, you're probably going to see situations like this occurring more frequently. You're going to see people kicked off of their land. You're going to see people kicked off of their land as they're being forced into mega cities as part of the UN Agenda 21 plan, which is to get rid of everybody out of rural areas and get them all into megapolis cities where they're in a control grid, basically. So this is an important stand.
That would go against what Chris Matthew wishes. He says part of their political problems is they've got too many people congregated in the big cities, and they're losing too many congressional seats because they don't have enough urban or enough country dwellers. Got too many urban dwellers. Well, now, as I stated before the break, we were going to talk about the potential police state in this country and what this country's coming to with the, for lack of a better word, police unchecked.
That's a good term for it, police unchecked. And the police are they've been militarized slowly since September 11th. There are programs now to hand down armored vehicles, attack aircraft, and things like that to local law enforcement, which doesn't need them. There's this story out of Washington, Iowa this week. Washington, Iowa, whose population of that town is around 7,000. They now own an armored personnel carrier. They were given an MRAP, that's a mine-resistant ambushed protected vehicle, through a Defense Department program that donates excess vehicles originally produced for the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan to local police departments across the United States, including other Iowa towns such as Mason City and Storm Lake. The MRAP weighs an impressive 49,000 pounds, stands 10 feet tall, and possesses a whopping 6-wheel drive. Originally designed to resist landmines and IEDs, it sure seems like the MRAP will come in handy for the notorious war zone, otherwise known as Washington County, Iowa. And then, let's see. This little anecdote does highlight several disturbing trends in the American cultural landscape. Most blatantly, the collective paranoia that's gripped post-9/11 America so tightly that small-town Iowa police officers are convinced that any minute the whole state could become engulfed in some Red Dawn-style conflict that would require the use of a device such as the MRAP. I don't think that's paranoia. That's a deliberate move to militarize the police, to quash any resistance to the coming martial law that will be coming down from Washington, to get rid of those of us who defend the Constitution, defend the real republic, put us in internment camps. That's what those things are for. The cops are also being, it's not just equipment that they're being given. They're being militarized. They're being given no hesitation targets. You can Google police given no hesitation targets, which are basically shooting targets that are images of pregnant women, old men, children, people like that. So cops are trained not to hesitate to kill. And we're seeing more and more police actions across the country that are reflected off of this animalistic behavior. Here's one. NYPD accused of excessive force in arrest that left teen a quadriplegic. Karen Flood wants to know the truth about how her 17-year-old son became a quadriplegic and eventually died after NYPD officers stopped him for fair beating one night last May. So basically, the Red Hook mother said that she received very little information about what transpired, but what she does know is her son's version of events involves accusations of excessive force and widely diverges from the vague account police gave her. The police told her that on May 5th, 2013, 4 officers spotted her son, Dion Flood, and his girlfriend squeezing through a turnstile at the Rockaway Avenue station in Brownsville on a single Metro card swipe. After the officers asked for their identifications and began to make an arrest, Dion fled, running into the C train tracks, the police told her. Karen said police told her that after her son took off, a subway train clipped him. The apparent crash fractured his skull and left him with 2 spinal fractures, according to police. But before he died from his injuries on July 12th of 2013, Dayon gave his mother a blow-by-blow account that didn't involve a subway train. "We asked him if he got hit by a train. He immediately said no," Karen recalled her son telling her at Kings County Hospital, where he was treated for nearly 2 months. He was very adamant that he did not get hit by a train. She said her son told her he did flee police when the officers tried to arrest him, and that he ran at length on a subway platform as officers followed him and bounded onto the C-Line tracks, running to the platform at the next station at Ralph Avenue. They eventually caught up to him. They hit him in the back of the head with a flashlight. They said, "Oh, you gonna be running? We're gonna make sure your beep don't run again," Dayon recalled the officers telling him, according to Karen. So they beat him, and then they left him for dead on the train tracks there. So, as I had stated before, they're using no hesitation targets. This is all in preparation to quash any dissent over full martial law takeover. Back in 2009, there was a leaked document from the Missouri Information Analysis Center, and this is a fusion center for police departments and intelligence departments in the state of Missouri. There's fusion centers and police departments in every state in the union. And it basically said that people who had bumper stickers that were pro-Constitution or anti-abortion or anti-UN, people who quoted the Constitution, people who may have voted for Chuck Baldwin, Bob Barr, Ron Paul, were all potential terrorists.
Put on a watch list?
Exactly. They're called potential terrorists.
Well,
2009, that day in 2009 was the day that I learned that because of my viewpoint, I'm an enemy now.
It's a tricky situation because I don't necessarily believe that, as some believe, that 9/11 was an inside job, but I liken it to what Rahm Emanuel, the chief of staff at the White House, once said, that never let a good opportunity go to waste. There's been a lot of people who's been wanting to do these type of things, spying on the nation, spying on our emails, spying on our faxes.
And they needed a catalyst to do so.
And they needed a catalyst to do it.
And they got it. They got it. Bin Laden is a confirmed intelligence asset. It's confirmed. We're running Al-Qaeda in Syria. We're running Al-Qaeda all over the world. We ran Al-Qaeda on 9/11. Siebel Edmonds testified. She's a interpreter. She testified in front of Congress that she intercepted phone calls between the CIA and Bin Laden. They were giving him orders on 9/11.
Well, this is our final break, and this is Frankly Speaking Live with Frank Holzhauser and David Kaniuk. And when we come back, we will talk about our potential hypocrites of the week.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places. Especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart, and it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
All across America, there are countless numbers of people struggling with addiction and other life-controlling issues. Probably someone you know and love. There is a way out. There is hope. Transformations Treatment Center in Delray Beach, Florida, has a unique approach to substance abuse treatment. Call now and ask about our Guaranteed Success program or log on to transformationstreatment.com. Transformations. Change your life. Change your relationships. Transform your world.
Speaking Live, and I'm your host, Frank Holzhauser, and co-host David Kaniuk. Hypocrite of the Week. Do you have a choice?
Well, it's not really a hypocrite per se. It's more of kind of a concept of overall hypocrisy. I found this really interesting this week. Liberty University hires open homosexual advocate to choreograph Mary Poppins production. I'm sure a lot of you know Liberty University. That was Jerry Falwell's organization. Liberty University, which is considered the world's largest Christian university and whose motto is Training Champions for Christ, has hired an open homosexual advocate to choreograph its upcoming Broadway-style presentation of Mary Poppins. The university recently published an article regarding the production, which it celebrates as being the school's largest to date. The article also notes that Alluvian Stage Company, an arm of the university's Department of Theater Arts, has hired a guest music director, a flight director, and a Broadway choreographer to assist with the presentation. We are very excited to have all of these guest artists join us. They bring a whole new level of excellence, stated artistic director Linda Nell Cooper. Our goal with Alluvian is for every show to raise the bar somehow, and they have helped us to do that. The selected choreographer is Jeffrey Goldberg, a New York City-based artist who has been involved with professional theater for over a decade and traveled the country for 5 years assisting with the production of Mary Poppins, among others. His social media page indicates his support and advocacy for the homosexual agenda, posting Happy Pride, everyone, in June of last year, which was designated as Homosexual Pride Month by Barack Obama. Goldberg is also a member of the Facebook group Marriage Equality of New York. And then his Pinterest page features pins for gay wedding cake toppers, custom modern groom invitations for gay weddings or same-sex ceremonies, and a gay wedding cake, yada, yada, yada. This is what I wanted to hit on. Director Linda Nell Cooper told Christian News Network that Alluvian and Liberty University was not aware of Goldberg's belief about homosexuality, but stated that one's personal life is not a factor in the hiring process. She said that he was hired based on his professionalism and his talent like everyone else, Cooper explains. It never came up in the conversation, nor would it have. We do not ask about their personal life. Now, I'm not saying this as a knock on Liberty University for hiring somebody who's openly gay. I'm saying, what a novel concept. Liberty University, a very staunchly Christian organization, they've hired this guy who's openly gay, and they did it based on his qualifications. Now, contrast that with anybody who speaks out and doesn't support gay marriage. What happens to them? No matter how qualified they are, even if they're not being hateful at all towards homosexuals or anything, they're run out of town.
Well, we're called the intolerant ones.
Exactly. It just happened with the Mozilla chief. Mozilla, the company that created the search engine Firefox, he was run out of that company because he expressed displeasure in gay marriage.
Hobby Lobby.
Right, Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Right. So that's the hypocrisy of, as Bill Maher puts it, the gay mafia. That's the truth. We're the ones that are actually showing tolerance. And I'm not advocating that this guy is fired or not, or dismissed or anything like that. If he's the best guy for the job, hire him. His personal views should have no bearing on how his job is done. And the same goes if you don't support gay marriage. You should not be ostracized or vilified or anything like that.
Well, I don't have anyone sane speaking this week. I haven't really heard anybody, and I didn't necessarily plan a hypocrite of the week, but a story struck me this week that potentially Reverend Al may also go by the alias Reverend Rat.
I heard about that.
That he may have been a mob informant.
Yeah.
Now, he vehemently denies that he was a mob informant. He was just merely cooperating.
Oh, well.
Because he got caught in a $35,000 for kilo Coke sting something or another, and that's how they got him to turn the trick. That's how they get most people, isn't it?
Yep, exactly.
But putting up with this guy for so long, from Tawana Brawley to Freddie Mac to the Duke Lacrosse to here's a novel idea, Reverend Al. Just get a job. You know, instead of constantly asserting your nose in something where it doesn't belong, always trying to make a living without actually doing some work for it, whether it be selling drugs, being a race merchant, just get a job.
I think in one of our first shows we discussed the leadership of the black leadership, basically, and how it's all about keeping African Americans down, basically, keeping them out of power, keeping them in the throes of poverty and everything, because that is where this leadership derives its own power. And now you've got Al Sharpton, who's a confirmed confirmed FBI informant. I mean, the documents confirm he was an FBI informant, and I'm sure he sold a lot of his own people down the river.
Well, I've maintained for years that the Democrats have to have a permanent underclass.
Yep.
There has to continually be racism, or it would put a whole lot of people out of work.
Racism is big business.
It's big business.
That's right.
And but it just irks me. Certain individuals, Reverend Al being one of them, that he finds racism under every rock.
Even if it's not there.
And I often wish he would just crawl under a rock.
Well, is that to keep him out of the sunlight and into the shadows because he's black? Because that's racist, dude. That is so racist.
Well, I don't know. As they used to say in my day, don't go away mad, just go away.
So you got nobody sane speaking this week, huh?
No, I do not.
A tough week for sanity. You know, I don't really treat it as sane speaking, but I've got a kudos that I'll shout out to Texas Republican Congressman Blake Farenthold. He refused to ask Eric Holder any questions during a Judiciary Committee hearing Tuesday. And he said the Attorney General should be in jail for ignoring congressional subpoenas instead of testifying before Congress.
And did you hear what Eric Holder's response was to Louis Gohmert?
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
buddy. He actually said, buddy.
These people have gotten...
Don't go there, buddy.
These people have gotten so ridiculous. Don't go there. Don't go there. Why shouldn't we go there? You're the one that's breaking the law.
And then he tried to backpedal it. And, well, don't ever say that I take this lightly. But
we're hurting his feelings or something like that. You should be in jail.
Nobody, no news network that I heard of even mentioned the fact that he called the guy buddy. Like that was an intimidating threat. Hey, don't go there, buddy.
Right. These people are a bunch of communist thugs. There was actually, before we went on air, we were talking about a story. The Washingtonian did a story on Jay Carney, kind of a what they call a worshipful piece on Jay Carney, the White House press secretary. And they've got a picture of him and his family in the kitchen and everything. And in the background, what do you see? Soviet propaganda posters. And we're the ones that are called conspiracy theorists for saying Obama and his crew are a bunch of communists.
We had a pretty lively show this week, and we crowded in a lot.
Anything you're looking forward to for next week?
Well,
Blood Moons on starting on April 15th. They got the 4 Blood Moons. I don't know what kind of prophetic significance that'll have, but...
Well, this has been Frankly Speaking Live with your host, Frank Holzhauser, and co-host David Kenyuk. And we will come loaded for bear next week.